Issues leading up to the recent general election in Nigeria and developments beyond it have sustained a crisis in the Yoruba social, cultural, and political organization Afenifere. With membership made up of some of the most recognizable voices in Southwest politics, Afenifere have had to deal with two factions, one of them which supported the presidential aspiration of former governor of Lagos State, Bola Tinubu, who is now president-elect, and a more vocal one that vehemently opposed that aspiration on the basis of pursuing an equitable template for unity and national integration. Arise analyst Dayo Sobowale is here to help us dissect to what extent this crisis can impact the politics of the region in the medium and long terms. Welcome to the show, sir. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. I mean, let's go straight into it. I mean, we're seeing this back and forth between between Afenifere, and I want to just ask, what faction of the Afenifere group right now is cogent? Who are we supposed to listen to?
They are both cogent. It may sound confusing, but that is how it is. Because the two leaders are well recognized and well respected Yoruba elders, Ayo Adebanjo and Ruben Fashoranti. But there is a division in the house. And it's about Yoruba leadership. You have to go back into history to get your bearings right on this. What has caused this now is that Ayo Adebanjo faction has said that Obi won the election, that there was violence, especially in Lagos. People were disenfranchised and all that, but that he won the election and that they agree he should go to court. But Ruben Fashoranti has said that Tinubu is a Yoruba son. He has won the election, and that the Afenifere cannot be the state as well as the referee of the election. That INEC has declared Tinubu the president-elect. And if people are opposed to that, they should go to court as demanded by the Constitution. But you see, the important thing is that history matters in this. You have to go back to the pedigree of Afenifere. Afenifere was formed in 1998, but is an extension or offspring or product of the action group in the whole Western region, when the Yoruba leader was Chief Obafemi Awolowo. You see, when Awolowo had a problem with his deputy in the old Western House, the Yoruba split into two, the Akitola faction and the Awolowo faction. The two leaders contending now, the Afenifere, they are both the Awolowo faction. Although they are more influential in the Yoruba politics, this ethnic politics now, they are both influential in Yoruba politics. And when the crisis in the West broke out in 1962, and there was crisis, there was wicked violence. You see, people who are inciting people now were not around when that happened. I was in secondary school then, and I know how bloody it was. That crisis led to our civil war, which we have survived. No nation has survived two civil wars. Our youth don't know that. They need to be told. So this faction now is trying to endorse who is the Yoruba leader. No Yoruba leader has come out unanimously. Has come out to be unanimously accepted, like Obafemi Awolowo. You remember Olusegun Obasanjo is a Yoruba man too, but the Yorubas never bought into his leadership. MKO Abiola was a Yoruba man too. In fact, at a stage, Obasanjo was jealous of the fact that Yorubas were in the direction of Abiola, although Abiola won an election that was scot-free. You get me? But you see, the Yorubas are still looking for a leader. If a Yoruba man wins the presidency now, I think the cloak of leadership should fall on him, and that is the president-elect. So it is strange that Pa Adebanjo in his old days, because the two men are old, they're old. So you can call the leadership a gerontocracy. But they are not senile. They are still very active, even more active than young people. That is why they have divergent opinions, you get me, that can divide their nation. But the Yorubas are well-discerning people. They know who their leaders are.
Just a quick follow-up before Vimbai comes in. And you've spoken about divergent opinions.
Yes.
Now, we know that, Peter Obi was, endorsed based on the equitable template for unity and national integration. So what caused the discrepancy after the Afenifere group had endorsed Peter Obi? What changed?
We are talking of two factions. We are talking of a faction. That's the Adebanjo faction that endorsed Obi. There is the faction that say no, they do not endorse Obi, that they are with their son, Tinubu. The difference is clear. There are divergent opinions, but they are both credible leaders of Afenifere. And Afenifere is the equivalent of the Ohanese. Not quite exactly. I would think because of the factionalization, Ohanese is more authoritative than Afenifere. But in real fact, the two leaders cannot be dismissed. They are credible Yoruba leaders in Afenifere.
In the run-up to the election, there were several conversations about the electoral value of endorsements. And when it concerns Afenifere, my question is, how important is it for the credibility, the influence, and the importance of this group to be associated with the winner?
Okay. I will attempt an answer. It's a difficult one. You see, I said Afenifere is divided. Okay. But then you have Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a presidential candidate. So it is natural for the Yorubas to move towards him, like a magnet attracts people. So normally you would think the Fashion faction, you get me now, is in tune with that. But Ayo Adebanjo is a credible Yoruba leader too. You get me? He thinks it is the turn of the East to produce a president. Have you know it antecedents? It's not somebody to be dismissed lightly. It's a credible leader. If I say that, he must have seen something on the ground. And he went to the extent of saying there will be one, and that there was violence that kept people away. The traditional, he went to great, he's a well-respected lawyer and a very close associate of the late Obafemi Awolowo. So when he talks, nobody can rubbish what he says. People listen. I'm trying to be objective as a Yoruba man. You get me? But that is the issue on the ground. They are both credible, they are both well-respected, and their views matter.
But do you feel that the one who obviously is associated with the winner,
not to take sides,
but just objectively speaking, obviously if you are associated with the winner, with the government of the day, you have an upper hand.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
These are principled people. Okay. These are principled, and okay, now that you have raised that point, it's not as if they approve of Tinubu per se. Do you get me now? Because if you look at Tinubu, even from appearance, it's the epitome of Awolowo, including his glasses. He rode to prominence and now to the presidency on the popularity of Awoism and the fact that people equated him with the sage Obafemi Awolowo. Do you get me? Nobody expected him to eventually get here, but he's here. You can't disown your own stock and key.
Of course.
It's natural.
Yes. We are looking at like the falling out of this, I guess I'll say internal division in the Afenifere group. We're looking at the announcement of the suspension of Mr. Ajayi, who is the national organizing secretary of the group, because he issued a congratulatory message to Tinubu. At this point, are members having to now, start to take sides so that they can, keep their jobs?
Sides. Don't mix it up. They have taken sides. There are two factions. There is division in the house. So, if you will see one group suspends the publicity secretary of the other, and the other suspends the publicity secretary, and said it is natural. There's factionalization. But I'm telling you, in spite of the factionalization, the two leaders are credible Yoruba elders.
So what would you say is the way forward for this group if they cannot come to an agreement?
They don't need to come. That's the Yoruba way of life. Disagreement is allowed, even in the family, as long as you have your principle and you stick to your options.
Of course.
It's a democratic disposition. The Yorubas are very democratic, just like the Igbos, very democratic.
Let's talk timing, because obviously this is a matter before the courts. Regardless of who supports who, this is currently a very sensitive issue as it is before the courts. The timing of this, and I like that you referred to the culture of this almost being like a family discourse that's happening. Why let this out into the public forum, especially during the sensitive time where we don't want, we want to allow the judicial process to prevail? This is the best time
that this sort of thing can come out. It's after an election. You get me now? It's after an election. Before the election, Afenifere, the faction, endorsed Tinubu now. Before the election, Ayo Adebanjo faction endorsed Obi. And you know what happened? Obi did not win. And Ayo Adebanjo said from the facts available to them, Obi won. And that, they should even cancel the election. Unfortunately, he said no, that Afenifere cannot be both judge and prosecutor in his own case, that INEC is the arbiter, the referee, and INEC must be respected. And whoever has any objection to go to court, which is the legal process.
Of course. And, you have made reference again and again during this interview to the fact that both of them are credible leaders. Yes. And at this point, it's really about just them trying to... it's a disagreement. Yeah. But, they are saying that, Baba Fashoranti is still the leader of this group. So when it comes to the hierarchy, his word should be taken as gold, so to speak. So shouldn't we be looking at it from from that standpoint, that two people cannot be weighing?
I'm a Yoruba person. You are Yoruba too, I presume, although you are not interested in our politics. But what I'm saying is that these are credible elders. In fact, at one stage, Papa Fashoranti, because of his age, retired. Do you get me now? But later, it was succeeded by Ayo Adebanjo. But later, when this crisis started, differences of opinion started rearing their heads in terms of endorsement and political relevance of who will contest and who will not contest, they resuscitated the old man in Akure. And he's a retired principal, he's an educationist, but he's still mentally alert. So he's trying to counter what the man who succeeded him is trying to do. That is Ayo Adebanjo. And both of them are well-known, well-respected lieutenants of Obafemi Awolowo, the Yoruba leader. How
important is it for Afenifere to have, to win the popularity of public opinion?
Which public opinion?
Nigerians, of course. At the end of the day,
Afenifere is an ethnic group.
It's an ethnic group.
Yes.
But what I'm saying.
But look at the candidate that the Reuben Fashoranti faction is supporting. That is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Get me now? You see, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, like MKO before him, like Obafemi Awolowo before them, reached out across the country. They are all federalists. They build bridges. No Yoruba leader seated in the southwest can become president of Nigeria. Just like no Igbo leader seated in the southeast can be. You have to reach out to the north, and the north who has to reach out, down south, west, middle, belt, and hand. That is why Nigeria is a federation. Awo was the first federalist. He campaigned all over the north. But the north, because of their numbers, knew they will always have the majority. It was Awolowo, because of his campaigns in the north, that forced Sardauna, the first premier of the north, to start campaigning too. And in my own view, you have a robust federation because of these past leaders. These two people are the last of the titans of that pre-independence era.
So what happens next? Because obviously, they're respected elders, and this is why I ask, how important is it for Afenifere to be popular? Because there's a process of handing over, generations are coming in, new faces are coming in, that process is inevitable. That's why I ask you, is it important for them to be popular? Sorry, very quickly, we just have a few seconds to go. Do they need to have the public appeal?
Well, you see, they are gerontocrats. They are on the way out. There is a president-elect. He's a Yoruba man. Is it not apparent that is their successor?
That's their successor.
Sam?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sobowale, for your analysis on some.